Leave it. No, put it down to 19. Get behind that. I got sweaters. No. Leave it.
That's something.
Okay, then the next thing that we need to do is we need to coach them on how to do it. No, because you don't actually do it word for word. You can say what it means to you. I'm sorry.
Welcome, everyone. If you could grab your seats. Welcome to our board meeting for Monday, January 15th. Happy New Year to everyone, Dave. And this time, we kindly ask that you please stand for the singing of our national anthem. Thank you very much, and I'll kindly ask our director to read the land acknowledgement.
Thank you. The Hamilton-Wentworth District School Board acknowledges our presence on ancestral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee Confederacy land as determined by the Dish with One Spoon Treaty. The intent of this agreement is for all nations sharing this territory to do so responsibly, respectfully, and sustainably in perpetuity. We respect the long-standing relationships with the local Indigenous communities, the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation, and the Six Nations of the Grand River.
Thank you very much, Mr. Director, and welcome to everyone this evening. Welcome to trustees, staff, members of our local media, those joining us in our galleries, watching on our live streams. Welcome. This is our first board meeting of the new year. At this time, we are on item number 3, approval of the agenda. I'm asking or looking to trustees for a motion to approve the agenda. Do we have a mover and seconder? Moved by Trustee Archer, seconded by Trustee Hicks. Any questions or comments? All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Just one point. We do have regrets from Trustee Danko. Aside from Trustee Danko, we have everyone else here this evening. At this point, trustees, any declarations of conflict of interest on the public agenda? See none. Confirmation of the minutes from our December 18th board meeting. Any comments? See none. We'll move right to item number 6, reports from trustee special committees, and this is the governance committee report from January 8th. There's one item on that report. As chair of the committee, I'll kindly ask the vice chair to chair this item. Trustee Johnstone.
Looking for, or I guess back to you.
Thank you. So everyone, hold your hats. We're reporting on trustee honorarium. This is once again a scheduled action for our board. Last time we did this, we demoted ourselves unanimously. This time we are now getting a whopping 1-point-something% raise. Might be able to afford a new hat that you're holding. Anyways, recommended by the committee is approval of the item. There is a little bit of background. We're not going to go into too much detail. To be honest, there's not a lot of decision making that we have or authority. This is a basic calculation made up of 4 parts. There is a base amount which hasn't changed for many years. There's an enrollment amount, which is really what the fluctuation is. There's an attendance amount, and that's not something that our board has traditionally utilized because we recognize a lot of the committees that aren't necessarily the ones that really depict our participation board-wide. They depict some of our participation, but not in terms of our entire governance structure. There's also a distance amount, and this is something that we're not eligible for under the regulation. So to make a long story short, it's a technicality. I encourage you to vote in favor of it and get your 1% after 12 years of this, I think, or something like that. Anyways, Trustee Johnstone, I am happy to move the report.
Thank you. Is there discussion towards the recommended action? Oh, do we have a seconder? Thank you, Trustee Pattison. Discussion? Seeing none, we'll go to a vote. Oh, yes, Trustee Pattison? Okay. To the recommended action, all in favor? That is unanimous.
See, Ray just wanted his money. Item number 7, reports from community advisory committees. Number 7 is First Nation Métis and Inuit Advisory Committee from December 7th. I'm just wondering, Christine Bingham, you're presenting, over to you, please.
Okay, we had the meeting back in December in the afternoon. First thing that we did, we elected our vice chair, which we hadn't had up to this point. We just had the chair, which is Caitlin Clark. It was wonderful to have Caitlin step up to accept the nomination for it. Information items, committee purpose. Trustee advisory terms of reference were reviewed. Committee was asked of the action item on December 4th about the land acknowledgement motions, and we're definitely very pleased to see that it is on the board as well when we are giving the land acknowledgement here. Jolene John provided an update on the retirement of the totem pole at the Parkdale School as well, but we're still not completely at a point of retiring it, knowing how to retire it completely. So we're still working on that. Item B, Blue Water letter to the minister we received and filed. Thames Valley letter to Minister Hunter as well. We did refer this back to staff for additional information, as Thames Valley, if you recall in the letter, Thames Valley had decided to add a student trustee position that was strictly a seat for First Nations, Métis, Inuit as well, Indigenous. And we wanted them to connect back with Thames Valley as well as find some more information to bring it forward to board as well. So that's in the works at the moment. And then the last letter, we kind of ran out of time, so we deferred it to our next meeting. And with that, I submit the report.
Thank you very much, Trustee Bingham, and you're moving to receive?
Yes.
Thank you. Seconder, Trustee D, thank you. Questions, comments? Trustee D, thank you.
So I just had a question about the student trustee for the Indigenous community. So we can have up to 3 student trustees a year. Is that a decision we can make as a board to have one specific, an Indigenous student, or do we have to get direction from the ministry for that?
Thank you for the question. I'll go to the trustee officer.
Through the chair, yes, every board is entitled to have anywhere between 1 and 3 student trustees, one of which could be as of FNMI descent.
Thank you. Thank you. You look like you had another thought. Sorry, I was pausing.
Yeah,
Oh,
so,
you do, see?
yeah, sorry. So I'm just wondering on the process because would we have to change around that if it was specific that the third trustee was FNMI, or like how would that work?
Trustee officer.
So in doing some pre-research, knowing that this was going to the FNMI committee and seeing that it's going to be coming back again, I have looked at how Thames Valley went about doing it and would be happy to share it with, because it's only preliminary. They did a by-election because theirs was not selected at the same time that their other student trustees were elected, so it was done after the fact. So they held a by-election in September, and it was specifically for a student to come out from the Indigenous community through an application process, and they were voted in the same way that their original students were voted in back in April of that year. So when they go to do their elections again next April, I suspect that there will be all 3 of them there at the exact same time.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Further questions? Trustee Pattison.
Thank you, Chair White. And certainly to Trustee Dees' questions there, I mean, the committee would certainly love to see this happen, but they just wanted to understand how Thames Valley do it and make sure when we do decide to move this forward that to make sure that they're very cognizant of and respectful of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit, and make sure that this is handled properly, and hence the research from Thames Valley to understand how they did it and went about it. I just wanted to also mention not only do we elect a chair at the last committee meeting, but chair as a student, so I thought that was pretty exciting. She just jumped right in there and said, can I be chair? And so it's great to see that involvement from our students.
That's kind of how we do it, too. Thank you for that. Further questions, comments from trustees? Seeing none. So with that, motion was to receive, moved and seconded. All in favor? That is unanimous. So this time, I don't know how we got here so fast. 8, resolution to Committee of the Whole, private session as per Education Act 2072B. Motion moved by Trustee Van Geffen, seconded by Trustee Johnstone. All in favor? That is unanimous. We'll excuse ourselves to the side room, and we'll be back to continue the show. Thank you. Okay, folks. Oh, you can tell I'm tired. Item number 9, report from committee of the whole, private session from just a moment ago. We'll go to the vice chair to read the brilliant statement. Trustee Johnstone.
Well, forgive our chair because he has some very young children at home right now. And he's sleep deprived. So through the chair, it is my pleasure to present the report of the private session of the Committee of the Whole held earlier this evening, that the Governance Committee report from January 8th, 2018 be approved.
Excellent. Thank you, Trustee Johnstone. You're moving the report. Thank you. Do we have a seconder for the verbal report? Seconded by Trustee Van Geffen. All in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll go to oral reports from liaison committees. 10A is City School Board Liaison Committee. Just a heads up, the next scheduled meeting is March 22nd, held here at our offices. At that time, we'll have an update to share with you. Until then, please forward any feedback or suggestions through me, the vice chair, or our other rep on the group. With that, item 810B. Hamilton Wentworth Home and School Association. Trustee Pattison.
Thank you, Chair White. So the Home and School Association will be meeting tonight at 7 o'clock in the room just to the left of the front desk, if anybody's interested in checking it out.
Thank you very much, Trustee Pattison. Appreciate it. HWDSB Foundation. Trustee Danko isn't here. I know Superintendent Stefaning is, but my understanding, Sharon, is that the next meeting is later this month. Is there any update? Thursday? Excellent. Is there anything to update before then? Not that there needs to be, but it depends. Do you want to? Excellent. Thank you very much, Superintendent.
Thank you. Through the chair, just a really quick update with respect to our foundation. We're in what we would categorize it as a bit of a refocusing and a revitalization stage. At our meeting on Thursday of this week, we're going to look at a potential new name for our foundation. We'd like to see a stronger connection to the focus of the work, which is around supporting student learning. Trustees may be aware that we're in the process right now of recruiting a new foundation development officer, who we know we're still in the early stages, but certainly lots of excellent candidates who bring a lot of vision and passion to the work. We are also in the process of planning a first-time donor recognition event to be held this spring. So an opportunity to bring those folks in who have been contributing to our foundation to thank them for their contributions. Dates to mark in your calendar: Prom Project will be at Delta on April the 14th, the Hill Park location on May the 5th, and the golf tournament will be on June 4th.
That's the best off-the-cuff update ever, Sharon. Thank you. You acted like I could give an update. You had a very great update. Thank you for that. Any questions for Sharon? Seeing none. The final update, 10D, we have our Ontario Public School Boards Association Trustee Johnstone.
Thank you, through the chair. First off, I'd just like to remind trustees that our OPSPA Education Symposium is taking place next weekend. If you haven't booked your hotel yet, well, start asking those of us who are attending if you can come and crash with us. I know that I'm attending, Trustee Deeth is attending. Is anyone else around the table attending? Trustee Beatty, and Student Trust, no, and Trustee Van Geffen, and Trustee White. So that's great, that's wonderful. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there. I do have a bit of a further legislative update through OPSPA. So student transportation discussion paper, OPSPA met in December with the ministry, and they will be meeting with the ministry again this month. They will be also reaching out to local boards, to staff at local boards, just to collect input. And the focus of the discussions will be around equity and accessibility, safety and well-being, accountability, and responsiveness. Bill 193, Rowan's Law, also known as concession safety. The bill was introduced in December. It amends the Education Act to provide a framework for concession prevention, detection, management, and awareness. Pre-budget consultations for the 2018 year, they've already started. This week there will be discussions taking place in Kitchener, Waterloo, in London, several other communities, but those were the closest to us. So if you go online, you can register to take part in those discussions. As well, you can submit a written submission as of 5 p.m. on January 19th. On January 12th, the Ministry of Education released a news release regarding school improvement projects, including solar panels, hot water boilers, and LED lighting as part of the province's climate change action plan. And I know that there's been discussion internally about that press release. And as well, on December 13th, the Ministry of Education sent a memo out outlining a policy review of safety during outdoor education excursions involving water-related activities. School boards will be contacted this month for focus groups and one-to-one interviews. And that is my report.
Thank you, Trustee Johnstone. Any questions for Trustee Johnstone? Seeing none, thank you for those updates and the reminders. Just before adjournment, I just want to mention and recognize someone very important in this room that we tend to be really good at saying goodbye to, but she just keeps coming back. So knowing that it's her last board meeting, I'd like to turn it over to the director to say a couple of words.
So, yes, I'd like to acknowledge two groups. First, I'm going to begin with Dr. Janice Tomlinson. A year ago, when we reached out to her and asked her if she would, for a short period of time, be willing to share her leadership, provide some guidance, mentoring, and share her expertise around special education, she said yes. And she's been here almost, if not a year, it's been a year. And we are very thankful and appreciative. We know that Peggy Blair has already begun her transition with Janice. And but we just want to thank you, Janice, on behalf of the families and students with special needs in our district. Thank you for your ongoing commitment to public education. We know you're going to continue to work with the Provincial Mental Health Assist Strategy. And we, as a Board of Trustees and a senior team, are so thankful for your ongoing commitment to Hamilton and our students. And we want to thank you again from the bottom of our hearts for your support.
If I may, through the chair, it has been a privilege and an honor to be back to serve you. Some new trustee faces around the table and some ones that I've worked with before. I can say that this board, including Executive Council and the trustees, really supports students with special needs, and I'm very proud of the work that you do and that we do. So please keep on doing that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janice, and we'll see you in a couple of months. Mr. Director, go
and
ahead.
Secondly, I'd like to acknowledge in the audience, you'll see this week, and you'll also see in the weeks ahead, HWDSB leadership candidates, people who are engaging in our leadership, our formal programming, who are coming out to see our board structure and our board governance model. So I want to thank them for their enthusiasm and interest and for their time here tonight. So I just want to acknowledge them. And thank you.
Welcome to the boardroom. You've picked the shortest board meeting of the year, so hopefully that counts somewhere. Cross it off the list. But with that, the only thing left on the agenda is adjournment. Motion, well, and keep in mind, just don't go anywhere. We have a standing committee meeting with one item on it as well that we'll jump right into. But motion to adjourn, Trustee Van Geffen, Trustee D, thank you. All in favor? That is unanimous, and we'll turn it over to the Vice Chair to chair the standing committee meeting.
So I'd like to call the meeting to order. And can I get approval of the agenda? Trustee Deeth, seconder. Trustee Archer. And declarations of conflict of, all in favor? It's unanimous. Declarations of conflict of interest? Seeing none, we'll move right into the school year calendar, and I'll go straight to the director.
Thank you. Through the Vice Chair, what trustees have in front of them on page 4-1 is a recommended action to approve, believe it or not, for consultation, the draft 2018-19 school year calendar. So with that, I'll pass it over to Superintendent Jeff Gillies, who leads this work on behalf of Exec Council, to give an update and overview.
Thank you, Mr. Director, and through the chair. I'm pleased to bring forward on behalf of Executive Council the proposed 2018-19 school year calendars for the board's approval to proceed to public consultation. The draft calendars, as always, have been prepared in compliance with Ministry Regulation 304 in consultation with the School Year Calendar Advisory Committee and is endorsed by Executive Council. The calendar provides for 194 school days, of which 7 have been designated professional activity days to support mandatory health and safety training, provincial assessment and reporting requirements, as well as professional learning that reflects both ministry and district priorities. Dates for professional activity days have been established through consultation with the School Year Calendar Advisory Committee. That committee includes representation from employee groups as well as representatives from HWDSB Parent Involvement Committee and Council of Home and School Association. Consultation was also undertaken with the coterminous board to seek alignment of PA days wherever possible to maximize efficiencies. And as an update to the report that you've got in front of you, just a note to trustees that through some adjustments to the coterminous board draft calendar, we currently have 6 PA days that align for elementary and 4 that align for secondary. So that's very good news. Further input will be gathered and reported through a public online consultation process supported by the Research and Analytics Department that will allow for public input for review by Executive Council and the Board of Trustees prior to final approval and submission to the Ministry of Education by May 1st. Appreciating the collaborative efforts and guidance of the Advisory Committee and also Executive Council, it is recommended that the draft calendars before you be approved and proceed to the public consultation process. And I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, questions? Student trustee?
Thank you. Considering that this calendar will be up for consultation, we'd like to suggest that it comes back to Senate so that we can bring it back to our elementary and secondary senators. Our next Senate meeting is February 8th. So we were thinking that we would bring it back during that time and talk about it then.
So I'll direct that over to the director.
Just looking at Superintendent Jeff Gillies, I can see him nodding his head through the podium. I don't see that being concerned, so we'll make sure that we support student trustees with Senate any way we can to bring it back there.
Thank you. Excellent question. And thank you for looking out for student voice. Any other questions? Seeing none, we can go to a vote or move it. Yep. So it'll be moved by Trustee White, seconded by Trustee Van Geffen. All in favor? It's unanimous. So looking for adjournment. Trustee Van Geffen. And followed by Trustee White. Thank you. All in favor?